Hey y'all, it's your favorite Armadillo Lord here, and during my time in the original Yu-Gi-Oh campaign, I hit a major snag with my deck and the story decks. So in response, I decided to create a salt deck to overcome my seemingly major hurdle that I was so salty about how long it took me to get over. This whole saga began when I had to duel as Pegasus against Kaiba, which I originally thought I wouldn't have too much of an issue with, and I thought I would have some fun with the toon deck that Pegasus provides. However, Kaiba proved a bit difficult and I would need to challenge him to a rematch, thinking I'd defeat him in either my second or third attempt. But the second and third attempts flew by as Kaiba kept blowing me away with constant defeats as Pegasus' deck kept failing me or I didn't understand how to use this deck properly. So in order to avoid complications with the deck that I'm not familiar with or how to use it properly, I had to start working on making my own deck to get me through the campaign by opening Kaiba packs for my deck. Due to being so salty and fed up with Kaiba, I wanted him to get a taste of his own medicine, so I decided to use his precious Blue Eyes against him and birth the Blue Eyes Salt Dragon deck. After some time in dealing with what I had, the first rendition of the Salt deck was born. I needed to see how this deck worked out. So I decided to test it out against Kaiba, the duelist I primarily designed it to go against, and see how it pans out. And in its first run, it gets blown out of the water, and I have to try to rework the deck to make it more effective and less likely to brick. After some tweaks to the deck, I try to see how the second version works out this time. I then ran into issues with the iconic Blue Eyes bricking, so I needed to grind against previous duelists to gain more points, open more packs, and get prize cards for winning or losing against duelists. Interestingly enough, the first Kaiba duel in the campaign awarded me my final Blue Eyes White Dragon I needed to finally complete the trio of my Salt deck. However, despite my progress, Kaiba is still a major roadblock and the deck still needs some more work. Now with the fourth version of the deck in hand, it's time to take down Kaiba with his beloved dragon. The duel doesn't start out great with Kaiba already having two of his Blue Eyes already in his hand and bringing one of them out onto the field to give me familiar trouble. However, I'm able to quickly turn the tables when I have my own ways of bringing out my Blue Eyes thanks to the White Stone of Ancients, summoning her out of my deck once it went to the graveyard at the end of Kaiba's turn. With the board just about set, I started putting the hurt on Kaiba by chipping away at his life points with some burn damage and summoning a Salt Wyvern to deal a straight blow to Kaiba's life points once my Blue Eyes deal with his monsters. After this, Kaiba falls into the famous Blue Eyes bricking as he's unable to put up any defense, leaving him wide open to finish him off and avenging my numerous losses against him. Next up is a duel with Mai, and at this point I was feeling that I could get through the duel, thinking that I wouldn't have a difficult roadblock problem like I did with Kaiba. However, Mai proved me wrong as she was able to wipe me out and I needed to challenge her to a rematch. But this match is no better than the previous one as my deck bricks again and Mai fills her field with monsters ready to finish me off. So I decided to switch over to the story deck to see how well it works against Mai. Only for it to brick hard in the first attempt, but I'll give it a second chance. On the second attempt, it looked like my deck bricked again and I had to challenge Mai a third time. However, the heart of the cards came through with Black Hole, which cleared the board of her monsters and gave me a fighting chance against Mai. Things fully turned around when I pulled Polymerization and I was able to fusion summon Dragon Champion to fully turn the tide against Mai. In the end, Mai's deck bricked and I was able to secure victory with my Dragon Champion. Next up is Bandit Keith and I decided to give my Salt deck another go. Now finally I was able to get an easier duel as Keith bricked while my Salt deck was able to wipe out Keith as I brought out my dragons to do that job. Next up is the favorite underdog of the OG Yu-Gi-Oh anime, Joey Wheeler. I start off the duel by gambling with Rage with Eyes of Blue to bring out all three of my Blue Eyes White Dragons, giving me a good chance to easily wipe out Wheeler. But of course, Joey was not only able to pull his iconic Time Wizard, but also pulled off the coin flip, taking out all three of my dragons. I was unable to recover from this loss, and Joey was able to defeat me, needing to challenge him to a rematch. The second time was the charm here, as I was able to defeat Joey with some ease, and now able to move up in the campaign. Next up is the creator himself, Maximilian Pegasus, and hoping that his deck will brick like it did for me when I was dueling as him. However, Pegasus doesn't brick as he's able to get out relinquished and give me an early headache, so I decided to gamble again with Rage with Eyes of Blue to protect myself and try to take out Pegasus quickly. But once again, the gamble to take the duelist out fails as Pegasus used Mirror Force to take out all of my monsters, leaving me defenseless and needing to rematch Pegasus as this duel is basically over. In the rematch, things go a bit better as I'm able to XC summon my knight to give me a decent beat stick and help me take the early lead in this duel. But history rhymes as Pegasus summons Relinquished again, but history doesn't fully repeat as due to my knight's ability, I'm able to deflect Relinquished's ability to absorb my monsters to my weaker Flame Veil Dragon, giving Relinquished only 100 attack points. But I gain new problems as Pegasus fuses his weakened Relinquished with Thousand Eyes Idol to bring out Thousand Eyes Restrict, which again will try to absorb my knight, but will again use his effect to deflect the absorption to my Totem Dragon, leaving his monster with a weak attack stat. While the swords of Revealing Light are now gone, I can't attack due to Thousand Eyes effect that monsters other than it are unable to attack while it's on the field. So now we're in a stalemate and my plan now is to deck out Pegasus. While I can't attack, neither can he other than his Thousand Eyes, but with a pitiful powerful 400 attack points, he really can't do much against me. Pegasus would then seal his deck out fate by playing Toon Table of Contents, bring another copy of the card, and use that copy to bring out Toon World. That was enough to make sure that Pegasus would deck out because he decided to keep searching and pulling cards. During this stalemate, I pulled Dragon's Gunfire, which could take out Thousand Eyes and possibly allow me to attack Pegasus if I didn't have anything to counter it. But I decided to play it safe and stick with the decking out of Pegasus. And the plan works as Pegasus decks out, which hands me the victory, and now I can move on. Next up, we have a Mind Control Bandit Keith to deal with alongside his rare and powerful cards. However, Keith couldn't handle this power as he bricked and handed me an easy victory for my final duel of the stream. And that's how it went. A ton of roadblocking, thanks for that, Kaiba, and a new deck birthed from that salt. Thank you all so much for watching. Be sure to like and subscribe for more trophy hunting content like this, and hopefully I'll see you all next time.